Hi y'all, my name is Caitlin Bandy and this is my channel BandysBooks, and today is Tuesday, so we're here for a Tag Tuesday. We're going to be doing the Rootin Tootin June on the Range book tag. This tag was originally created by Steve at St. Donahue, and I was tagged by Fred at Read by Fred. Thanks for the tag, Fred. Prompt number 1. A ways out west. Have you ever been to the American West? Well, funny enough, I was actually born in California, which is part of the American West, and I've spent a good portion of my adult life here in the lovely state of Nevada. So aside from a year or two here and there, I've spent most of my life here. Prompt number 2. Dry Gulch. What's the smallest town you've ever visited? How small is your town right now? Well, I've visited an awful lot of small towns. I did take a road trip from Las Vegas all the way to Alaska and back, and I passed through plenty of small town along the way. I've also traveled all over South and Central America and saw plenty of small town down there, and I've been to Lebanon in the Middle East, and so I visited a few small towns while I was out there as well. As for how small the town is that I'm currently living in, well honey, I live in Las Vegas, so this ain't exactly a town. This is more like a city. Question number 3. Where the buffalo roam. Have you ever seen an American bison in person? What's the largest hoofed animal you've seen? Or do you have evidence that you live near coyotes? I have seen an American bison. When I took this 3-month road trip, I actually got to see some American bison along the way in Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Parks. They are lovely, majestic creatures, and I sure did appreciate the opportunity to get to see them. Aside from an American bison, the largest hoofed animal that I've seen is a musk oxen. I saw them up in Alaska, and they're basically like a bison, but a little bit hairier. I've also seen Highland cows in northern Scotland, which are the big hairy cows with the big long horns. Those are pretty massive as well. But if we're talking non-oxen type animals, I've also seen moose, reindeer, elk, all of them pretty large animals. And as for evidence of coyotes, out here in the Southwest, it's quite common to see coyotes. I do live close to a mountain range, and so we do occasionally hear the coyotes yipping in the night, and occasionally you might see one come into the city looking for some food. Question number 4, Old Doc Fry. What's your history with Westerns? Well, silly me, I don't have much history with Westerns aside from the fact that my father likes to read them. I do recall that he really enjoyed Lonesome Dove when I was younger, and I know that he's watched several Western shows during my upbringing. But as for ones that I personally watched, I can't say that I have. Question number 5, Diamond Lil at the Rialto Saloon. What's your relationship with alcohol? Ever had a friendship with a bartender? Well, let me just say my family has a bit of a fraught relationship with alcohol, so I don't imbibe all too often. I will occasionally have a glass of wine at a fancy dinner or a cocktail after a really long, stressful day, but it's maybe once a month. I rarely drink anymore at all. But I do have quite a few bartender friends because honestly, you can't live in Las Vegas without bumping into a bartender here and there. Question number 6, the City Slicka from back east. What do you consider the best Western you've ever read? So I have not read any Western so far. It's not a genre that I typically would gravitate to. I think because I live in the American West, I don't necessarily find reading about it all that inspiring. But this month, I do have 2 books on my TBR that qualify as Westerns, although I believe they're a bit more modern type Westerns. So hopefully by the end of the month, I'll have a better answer to this question. In fact, out of movies, TV, books, and all, the only real Western that I can ever recall seeing was True Grit, the remake that they made a couple years ago. And I enjoyed that just fine. Question number 7, the man with the badge. Have you ever been in charge of other people? What's the most authority you've ever handled? Would you be good at it? Well, I suppose that I am in charge of people on a day-to-day basis at my job. I run a meal prep company here in the Las Vegas area, and I do have a handful of employees that work underneath me. But that's about all the real power and responsibility that I want. And would I be good at it? Who's to say? One never really knows how good you are at something until you have the chance to try it out. Question number 8, the Tombstone Kid. Have you ever fired a gun? Been a gun aficionado? Been shot? So I have not been shot, thankfully, and I hope to never be shot. I am not what you would call a gun aficionado, but I have shot several different types of guns. When I was young, I was taught how to handle handguns, so I have shot several different calibers of handguns. And my first boyfriend took me on a date to go shoot shotguns at the shooting range. And later in life, I lived in Kansas for a while, and it was a real big military town, so I did get to shoot a handful of more high-powered rifles. So, well, I'm definitely not an expert. I do know my way around basic gun safety. Question number 9. It ain't the bullet that gets you, it's the fall. How would you like to ideally cash in your chips? I believe cashing your chips is a euphemism for how would you like to pass away. So, I think ideally, I would like to pass away somewhere far away from home, on a day where I've been out riding motorcycles or scuba diving or skydiving or doing something amazing. And I'd like to have had a beautiful meal at a restaurant that I'd been dreaming of eating at for a real long time. And then I'd like to lay down in my bed with my significant other, and I would like to close my eyes and just never wake up. I think for me, I can't imagine a better passing than that. Question number 10, tag some owl hoots. So if you've seen this video and you haven't done it already, of course, consider yourself tagged. And I'd love to see your video, so let me know if you post one. Other than that, I think I'll be tagging Brandon over at Brandon's Bookshelf. Hopefully I can encourage him to come back and post some book videos. And let's tag Melinda over at A Web of Stories and Hannah over at Savage Reads. Alright y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for joining. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. And y'all know what to do. Comment down below and let me know what's the best Western you've ever watched, read, or if you haven't read or watched any, what would you like to start with? And if you're not already subscribed to this channel, you know what to do. Y'all hit that subscribe button down below as well as the notification bell so that you never miss a video. And that way we can see each other again soon. Thanks so much for joining. Y'all come back now, you hear?